Welcome to Fit Chicks Chat, the podcast dedicated to fitness, nutrition, wellness, and mindset. For more information on Fit Chicks Academy and our upcoming fitness and nutrition expert certification, as well as our holistic nutrition weight loss coaching certifications, please visit fitchicksacademy.com. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy today's episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Fit Chicks Chat. My name is Laura Jackson, and I am so excited to be back on the podcast. What's so funny is I literally have been trying to record this podcast, and every time something has been going wrong, my mic wasn't turned on, then I recorded the whole thing and I forgot to hit record. So if any of you are out there thinking, oh my gosh, like what is going on? Just feel better about it because I don't know. It's one of those days, maybe Mercury's in retrograde. I don't know. But I'm really excited to be back on the podcast. I haven't been here in a while if you're a regular listener. So February, I was super sick. Like I went to a conference and with 5,000 people and picked up something there, brought it home, and was just out of commission. I haven't been that sick in like 10 years, and it went through my entire house. So my son was sick, then my husband was sick, and then I don't even know. It was just, I literally for 3 weeks just could not function. So then we also had some amazing interviews and some amazing guests on the podcast. So we had these awesome experts. We're like, oh, we really want to share this with you guys. So we were really excited to be able to use those, but I'm like, I miss being on the podcast. I got a lot of stuff to update on. I got a lot of stuff to say. I've got a lot of thoughts I need to share. So I'm excited to be here. So this week on the podcast, actually, it kind of goes hand in hand because one of the reasons after being sick, and also, we want to have the guest experts on, that I was, kind of have been behind the scenes is because I have been very busy building something that we're launching in Fit Chicks Academy, which I'm so excited about. But this ties into what the topic of today's podcast is. So I'm going to be sharing with you more about that, but it also ties into the topic that we're going to talk about today. So if you are creating a business or have a coaching business, or just even in general, you want to create something in your life, maybe it's a goal that you have, this is going to be a very interesting podcast for you. So the title of this podcast is Being in a Building Season. So like I said, I have been behind the scenes working away on something that we're really excited to roll out. So last year in November 2023, we launched our very first round of our holistic perimenopause and menopause coach certification. So this is the third certification that we had added to our certification suite at Fit Chicks Academy. Other than that, we have our fitness and nutrition expert certification and our holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification. And both of those have been around for a really long time. So F&E was built in 2015. Holistic was built in 2018. And so we had not built a certification program in a really long time. And part of that is because, number one, building a certification is no joke. The amount of brain power, energy, time, research, legal stuff, like all the stuff that goes along with it, it takes so much out of you. And while I love doing it, like honestly, it's I love building stuff and I love building our certifications. It's also very draining. Right? In a good way. Like, it's like you put in all this energy, you have this, create this thing, and then you're just exhausted afterwards. I always equate it to, there's two things I equate it to. One is like having a baby. If you have a baby and, the first time you do it, you're like, okay, you don't know what's going to happen and everything's new and exciting and it could be positive or negative. You could have a terrible pregnancy or a great pregnancy. And at the end of it, you have a baby, right? And it's birthed into the world, and then you have all these expectations for it, and it really becomes who it's meant to be when it interacts with the world. And it's exactly the same thing with a certification, or if you're building your coaching program or whatever it is, it's like the first time you do it, you're building all this stuff and, there's highs, there's lows, there's experiments, you birth it out into the world, you launch it, you get clients in it, and then you tweak it based on that. But now you have this amazing asset, right? Or this human being that is going to be around for the rest of your life. If you do it properly, and if you do it really well, which is why we put so much effort into it, it's going to serve you, and it's going to really, pay you back tenfold in not just income, but in impact too. So that's the thing. When you're creating something in your business, it's like having a baby. But at the same time, when you go to create something again, it's like having a second baby, where you already have gone through the morning sickness. You've already gone through the bloating. You've already gone through the varicose veins. You've already gone through all that stuff. So as you start this journey again, you kind of have some anticipation. So it's almost as if there's more resistance, right? There's more resistance, maybe more resentment, because you know what's around the corner. And it's always harder to do something when you know how challenging it can be, right? So this is the same thing. Like, so for anyone who doesn't have kids, I'll give you the analogy of Amanda and I, we did a 100-kilometer hike for charity back in the day. And I believe it was like 2014 we did this. I don't even know. But we did this 100-kilometer hike. And the first time we did it, it was insane. And we did it in less than 24 hours. And, there's parts we wanted to quit. And it was so hard at times. But it was such a cool experience that when we finished, we're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this again. So the next year we signed up to do the 100-kilometer hike again, but the difference was it was the same course. So the difference was we knew what to expect. We downplayed the challenges the first time, and then of course you're in the high after you complete it, so you kind of forget. Just like having a baby, you have the baby, and then you're like, I forget what it's like to be pregnant. I forget what it's like to give birth, and then we're on that trek again, and we could anticipate like, oh no, here comes that terrible mountain again. Around that turn, that's when we're in the sludge for 5 kilometers, right? We knew, which made it harder, because we, instead of being in momentum and just being curious and just go, we were like, oh, I know this part's going to be hard. So it requires a lot more mental effort. So that being said, so after building F&E, then building Holistic in 2018, took a break for building certifications. And I also actually had a baby in that time. But in our business, I build other things, right? We've got a ton of amazing done for you programs and courses, but the level of work that goes into a certification, I didn't have the space nor the drive, not even the drive. There wasn't like the calling for me that I was like, okay, we need to add this 100% to our offer suite. Like we need to add this to our certifications because there's such a need for it. And that's really how we build our certifications, right? We're not just picking random topics out of nowhere and be like, hey, we're just going to do something on this. It's something that not just is really relevant and needed, but it's something that weighs heavy on my heart that I can't let go of. So I always know when I'm like, we got to do this because I keep thinking about it. My students keep asking me, and it's something I feel like I can't let it go. So that was when, around in 2022, the conversation really started around perimenopause and menopause. And also as I was starting to, head into, I was in my 40s, and I'm like, okay, things are changing for me. And I'm like, our coaches and coaches around the world need these tools, and no one's teaching it. And even the certifications that are out there that are teaching it, they're not teaching it holistically. They're not looking at the whole person, the mindset, the emotional side of it, how to coach on it, the nutrition, the habits, the fitness, like all of the things that go into it. And if we don't offer this, we're doing a disservice to the world. And also, it's something that is really the next progression. Like it makes sense to every other program we offer because it complements those programs. So anyways, so I ended up reaching out to Dr. Cheryl Allen, who is a naturopathic doctor. She's also an instructor at Fit Chicks Academy, and she's an incredible friend of mine. And she's extremely passionate about menopause. That's her market. That's who she wants to serve. That's the women. Her whole mission is to help with women's health. So she was in, and we went into build season, which again, I'm going to talk more about in a moment. We went into build season and we built the certification, and it was a beast. And I remember going into building that program and being like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. And I felt like I left, my heart on the floor in it. Because again, after certifying and working with so many students, I know what it takes to really build an incredible certification that not only gives the information you need in a way that's digestible, but makes it practical and actionable, that coaches know, hey, I know exactly what to do with this with clients. I know exactly what to do with this to be able to help people make a change in their lives. I know how to coach, right? So we finished that certification and launched it in November 2023, and I was exhausted, right? So this is my build season. What seasons are in a moment. But that was when I just thought I lost my mic there again. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I losing this again? So I needed a break. I was like, okay. And of course I'm still working, I'm doing the things, but I needed a break from that level of intensity. But one thing I knew, again, sitting on my heart, sitting in my head, I couldn't let it go. I'm like, this program needs a done for you option. So what I mean by that is, at Fit Chicks Academy, we offer a lot of done for you programs and products, right? Done for you challenges, done for you coaching programs, done for you coaching materials, digital products within our Holistic Nutrition and Health Coaches Club. I'm a big, big believer in having tools in the hands of coaches. And I don't want you guys spending all of your time figuring out how to design and deliver and create these types of materials. I want you out there coaching. That's how we make the biggest impact, right? My mission is to make healthier communities around the world. The more coaches we have coaching, the more health is being circulated and talked about and supported. So I was like, okay, like I know we need a done for you program. And we need one for perimenopause and we need one for menopause because they are different. And our certification talks about both of them. And we also need help, to help our students market this. And, so I even then I saw it, and then the students started asking for it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I wasn't ready to be in a build season. And Dr. Cheryl wasn't ready to be in a build season. And when you're not ready to be in a build season, it is the hardest thing to try to do. You will sit down and you will not be able to do it. So I decided that my build season was going to be the beginning of this year. Hence why I've been kind of MIA, because I have been behind the scenes working with my team, working with Dr. Cheryl, like a maniac to get this perimenopause and menopause done for you program that goes alongside. So you can't get it unless you are in certification, because everything that you learn in certification complements what's in the program. And we're about to roll it out April 18th. So anyone who joins the Holistic Perimenopause and Menopause Coach Certification will have the option to add on done for you programs. And we already have pre-launched it to our current students and grads. We have over 50% of them take it. They're so pumped. So I'm really excited to share more about their experiences and their clients and all that once they get these out and rolling after the 18th. So we also have a really cool menopause event coming up that I'm going to share a little bit more about after too. So that being said, let's talk about seasons. So I get asked a lot, like, how is it that you can produce so much and have so much balance in your life? Like you never usually are overwhelmed. You're never, resentful towards your business. You're never feeling like, when people meet me, they don't feel like I'm frazzled and all over the place. And I always say, oh, well, that's because you're talking to me now, not talking to me 10 years ago, right? I've learned a lot over this journey of entrepreneurship. So when I used to build programs and I used to, just even work in my business, I felt those things. I used to feel a lot of resentment. And the reason I felt resentment towards my business, and a lot of people feel this, so it's very normal. If you're listening to this, you have a coaching business or you're launching a coaching business and you're feeling very resentful towards the work in the coaching business, it's very normal. But you have to, this is why this is going to be such a valuable podcast to you. You have to have a mindset shift around this or it will cause you to quit. Okay. So I was very resentful because I was feeling as if my business was consuming so much of my time and my energy that when I was with my family and friends, I wasn't present. But then I'd be with my family and friends and I'd feel, unfulfilled because I felt like, oh, I really want to be working on my business. So I was always in this kind of no man's land in between place of not getting 100% from my business and not getting 100% from my friends and family and my social life and my self-care, because I was always trying to put, energy in all those buckets at the same time. Okay. And when you do this, you're not giving 100% to anything. So you don't feel that sense of fulfillment. You don't feel that sense of completion or achievement. So you always feel like you're not good enough, right? You're just reinforcing this belief of feeling like you're not good enough. Or if you're doubtful about the success of your business, you reinforce the belief you're never going to be successful. Or you reinforce the belief that you have to work more in order to be successful. And then that also brings up, does that mean I have to now not spend time with friends and family or take self-care? So I understand what that's like because I was there. And I spent a lot of years there. And it was also a struggle bus to grow my business because, when you're feeling resentful, what actions do you take? Right? You're not taking actions that are positive. Usually you're doing things that are taking you away from the result that you want. So, I do a lot of mindset coaching in our certifications. I talk a lot about this too, even in the menopause certification. It's just so important. And I think it's not talked about enough in coaching and in business. Like the mindset is like more than the strategy, I think. So anyways, so feeling resentful and all these things until I started to apply this concept of seasons. Now, I'm not going to take credit for this because I don't remember where I heard it. I heard it in a personal development seminar. It might have been Jim Rohn. I don't know, but it just really hit me. I just remember this. I was listening to it. I'm like, yes, this makes so much sense. So when you think about the natural seasons, right? Like nature has distinct seasons. And depending where you live, you might experience them very fully. So for example, where I live, every season is very, distinct. Like winter, it's snowy. Spring, there's flowers growing and it's sunny and warm. Summer, it's hot. Fall, the leaves change colors and fall down and it's, golden and all that stuff. So I experience them very clear, where sometimes if you live in a place that's hot all year round, you just kind of like winter and summer, things flow together. So when I talk about seasons, for me, it really resonates too, because I could see the distinctness of how different they each are. So nature has these distinct seasons. And your business follows similar cyclical patterns, right? Everything in life is cyclical. Like nothing lasts forever. There's always cycles, right? Which is a whole other podcast that I could talk to you guys about. But let's stay on the seasons. So your business follows these same seasons, right? So winter, if we think about winter really is a time, it's cold, you're indoors, usually you're more hibernating. This really represents in business. It's like a time of rest, reflection, preparation. This is usually where, you pull back. And again, winter does not technically mean that you're doing this in the winter in your business. It's just a season of winter. It could be in the actual summer, you're in a season of winter. But it's when you kind of pull back and you're evaluating, right? Like what's working. You're taking some time to recharge your batteries. And this is not a time of decline. Like it's not a time of stopping, which you guys know I am not for stopping and starting, whether it comes to your weight loss, whether it comes to your business, your personal life, your mindset work. Like the stop and start is what slows us down. We got to stay in momentum. So it's not a time of decline, of stopping, but it's really a time, I think, more of like internal work. It's when you're really evaluating and you're like, what do I want to be doing moving forward? Is this working? Is this not working? You're preparing for future growth. Then spring in business, it symbolizes new beginnings. And like, I always love the analogy of planting seeds. So it's the same thing in spring, right? You plant seeds and then, they're starting to germinate. They're starting to build under the ground. You might not see the results yet, but things are growing, right? So that's what spring is. Spring is really your build season, right? It's where you're creating new products. It's where you're developing your assets. It's where you're laying the foundations that you will bear fruit from later on. So for example, for me, being in this build season, this is where I am behind the scenes. I am building my program, right? And this is a time of new beginnings because this program now becomes an asset that will be part of my business that people can consume, people can purchase, people can make impact and income with, right? So it's a new beginning and I'm starting to lay the foundation. Now, I don't know yet if this is actually going to grow into a big, beautiful flower or an entire forest, or maybe just one little daisy, right? But I'm building that for future growth. And then summer is a season of growth and abundance, right? This is where, so again, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I see this afterwards, but this is a growth season, right? This is where your marketing intensifies. This is where you're hosting more events. This is where you're really building your list. You're focusing more on sales and expansion. And then fall, just like fall, as the nature season, is harvest time, right? We're reaping what we've sown. And we're preparing for another time of analyzing and going again. So it's like this, to me, almost kind of flows. I call it the maintenance season. It's where you kind of, you might stabilize. You're kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor. You're creating some space for yourself. This might be too where, your sales, like you're not going as hard. You're still selling, you're still getting clients, you're serving your clients, but there's not that same as that big outward push, right? Now, when I say seasons too, this literally could be like a week. A season could be a week, or a season could be 3 months. A season could be a year, right? Like there's no defined time for this. Some people go through all 4 of these seasons every month. Like they have, they build something, they're in spring, they build something, then they go immediately into marketing, into summer, fall, they reap the benefits of what they've sown, they make a bunch of money. They're like, okay, we're going to chill for a little bit. Now I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to go into winter. I'm going to rest and repair. And then starting again next month, I'm going to go again and I'm going to build new marketing plans for that product. I'm going to go and market and grow, right? So it depends on how long that you want to do this for. So for me, when I think about the seasons, whether it be from the actual seasons or business, I look at my business seasons very intentionally. Okay, so this is the shift that I have made that has made me not only be able to be successful in business, I believe, but has allowed me to really maintain my personal life, my personal balance, while being an entrepreneur that has big goals. Because it's very easy for me to go obsessive at work because I love it. So I can literally, I'm happy. I don't work a 9 to 5 where I just punch in and punch out and I hate my job, right? What I do is I love it. I love coaching. I love teaching. I love creating. Everything that I love to do, I get to do and get paid for it. So for me, I literally it's fun to build products. It's fun to think about my clients and what they need, my students, thinking about, them coaching in their communities. Like, I love it. So I have to be very intentional and decide in advance what season I'm in. So I can also then balance out my personal life alongside of it. So when I look at my business, I really am intentional about what season I'm in, and then I go all in on what that season is. So for example, right now, I just told you guys, I have been in a build season, right? I have been literally doors closed, head down, building. Like my team knows, don't bother Laura unless it's really important, because she is literally in her geek mode, fully just in the books, getting it done. But the thing is too, is that when I'm in that build season, when I declare that, my entire life adjusts around my build season. So I think one of the biggest things with a lot of people is we're still trying to chase this idea of balance. And you want to build a business, you want entrepreneurship, you want this for yourself. And not everybody does. But if it's something that you want, you have to understand that it is not the same as working a 9 to 5. It is completely different. And it also, and this, what I'm teaching you guys will hopefully be helpful for you, but it also requires a different mindset and a different way of approaching your life. So for me, when I'm in a build season, my entire life, not just my business life, not just my team knowing, don't bother Laura, my family knows, my husband knows, my son knows, my friends know. Right? My phone is turned off. I'm turning down social events. I am in focus time. I create boundaries because I have to protect my energy, and I can't be a good mom and a good partner when I'm feeling like I am overwhelmed at work. Because again, in entrepreneurship, there is no, I close the door and this is, business time and this is family time. It all blends together because it's you, it's who you are, right? So for me, my whole family knows, and they know, okay, like the month of February and March, heading into April, Laura is in build mode. So that means I'm saying, like, I'm getting asked to go out for dinners. I love to go out for dinner. I can do it after April 18th. This is literally what I've been telling people. Family vacations, we're not doing those till after April 18th. And again, the reason I do this is because I know I'm just more overwhelmed if I'm trying to do both of these things at once. It's so much better when you put your head down, you accomplish the task, you're in your build season at work, and then when that's done, then you can head into, whether it be a growth season or maybe it is you're going to take a pause for a couple weeks, winter, rest and reflect until we get the energy, and then we go and market that program and we grow, right? But I know for me, it preserves my mental energy, and it also preserves my family life, my ability. And this is where for a lot of women, it's hard because we want to be everything to everyone, and it doesn't work. And for me, and again, this might not work for you, but for me, this idea of seasons has really helped because I just know in advance, okay, like I knew build season was coming in Christmas 2024. So I planned my schedule around it because I intentionally decided that's what I was doing. And then after this build season, right, I'm not going into downtime yet. I'm going into growth season. So growth season is all about like visibility and connection for me. So I'm doing, as soon as this is complete, we actually have a live free event that is going to be happening on April 25th. We don't have sign up yet for it, but if you want tickets, it's free. Go to email us at info@fitchix.ca. We'll email you the link as soon as we have the sign up page. But basically it's going to be all about menopause coaching, teaching you behind the scenes. We're going to be opening up enrollment for our programs, but this is where for me during that growth season, I am all in on marketing. I'm teaching, I'm coaching, I'm showing up consistently. Again, that requires a different level of energy, right? So my calendar during a growth season also looks completely different than during other seasons. So when I'm in a build season, I'm more, internal. When I go into growth season, I'm more external. So again, my friends, my family know that this is a growth season for me. And this growth season is going to only last, 2 weeks afterwards. And then I'm going to take a chill. So they also know, okay, and during that time, because I've decided this is a growth season, my mindset and my thoughts are different because they're very intentional. So when I have thoughts like, oh, I don't want to show up today, I'm like, no, I'm in a growth season. Until April 28th, I've got to be marketing. I've got to be teaching. I've got to be on. Right? So what do I need to do to support myself during that season? Well, I need to make sure I'm getting really good sleep. I need to make sure that, I've got my nails done. I've got my hair done. Like I'm physically feeling good, getting my workouts. I'm drinking lots of water. Like those are the things when I know, and my team knows as well, how to handle me during that time as well. Right? And then when I go into my maintenance season after we launch this live event, again, I've already plugged this in my calendar. This is where I'm going to pull back and I'm going to analyze everything. The program now will be launched. I'm going to get feedback from students. Is there anything else I want to add in? Is there anything else I want to change? I'm going to also, look at systems, see how everything worked. And this is where too, I usually will work fewer hours, right? But I'm still going to maintain, like when it comes to sales and things like that, it's not, again, this stop and start because I have systems running in the background. But this is where I'm just pulling back. I'm analyzing, I'm giving myself, I already have planned, I'm going to the spa. I love hydrotherapy. So if you've never done hydrotherapy, it's like the hot and cold pools. My body feels so good after I'm doing hydrotherapy. I'm going to have lots of herbal teas. I'm going to have a nice lunch. I've already picked where I'm going to go to treat myself. But that's when I head into a maintenance season. And typically for me, summer is where I am not building or necessarily I always am growing, but I'm not like I'll do live events and things like that, but it's not this really intensity. So that's when, again, I know in advance, this is not a season of building. This is a season and my family gets more attention. So for me, it's just been about, this is such a tool, I think a mindset tool. And it's been really game changing because I truly believe that in this world and the way that the internet is, and how many little barriers there are now to entry, we can have it all, but not at the same time. And I think that this is the problem with so many entrepreneurs that really burn out, or so many coaches that burn out, is because they're trying to maintain this perfect balance all year round. We're trying to fire on all cylinders all the time. Then we feel like we're being a crappy mom. We feel like we're not growing in our business. We feel like our self-care is out the door. And of course, we're health coaches. So we're like, what? And this has happened to me before where I'm like, how is it that suddenly I'm exhausted? I've missed workouts. My nutrition is crap. I teach this stuff. I know this stuff. It's because I'm putting myself last. So no, I'm in a season of focus on myself. But when you try to maintain this perfect balance, you end up feeling resentful. Like I was saying earlier, you end up feeling overwhelmed. And that's what I don't want for you guys. Okay. Now, one other thing that also has helped me, I'm just gonna say this really quickly, is the concept of a 90-day sprint. So I find for me, my seasons are usually during 90 days, like a quarter, just like the seasons are 1/4 of the year. So the first quarter, Q1 of 2025, I was working on building this Done For You program, right? But instead of thinking about my long-term goals, I have shorter goals, right? That are for each quarter. So for me being like, okay, I want to create this Done For You program by X date. Then I know I'm in a 90-day sprint, and it's like, it's a long enough of a time frame that you can make a lot of progress in your business if you go all in on what you want to create. But it's also short enough to maintain that intensity. Like I know I can't go all year at the level I've been going at, right? I know that if I go all year at this level of building and then, hosting live events and I'm going to burn out. But I know within 3 months, I can go intense. I still feel motivated. I can make a lot of progress. It's like doing a quick sprint. But then there is a clear end date to it. So I know after April 28th, right, after the live event wraps up, then I can shift my gears again. So it gives me that, like, I could see the end in sight. I can see, instead of being on that hike where you're like, oh my gosh, this is the corner again, it's going to get really, really hard and there's no end. I know that there is an end to this sprint where I will get to recharge. So mentally, I can manage my mind about that, around that a lot more. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I really have found it's a way to create this beautiful flow for me with my business. And, I get to give my business the love it needs. I really think of my business, and I think of all businesses that you have, it's like having a child, right? It requires love and attention and food and water and nurturing. You can't ignore it, but you also can't helicopter it and be with it all the time, because there's elements of it that will only develop in relation to what it is in the world. So it's the same with your children, right? So for me, it's like, I find that this has really allowed me to give it the attention that it deserves, then also give my family, my friends, myself the attention it deserves. And I get to fill all the buckets that I love, not feeling like I'm dropping 50% in each of them and not getting anywhere. I also get to feel the accomplishment of, at the end of this quarter, to say, hey, I just built something really amazing that's going to help a lot of people. And I know people are going to love it. And I'm so proud of that. Right? That's something that I think is so beautiful about entrepreneurship, is not just the who you help and who you serve, but who you become along the way to doing it. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope this recorded, because, I've been having a lot of issues with this, but, make sure to keep your eyes peeled. We have our menopause free coaching event that's going to be happening on April 25th. Links will be coming out shortly, but if you're listening to this podcast and you want to grab a free ticket, email us at info@fitchicks.ca. and we'll shoot you over the link as soon as we have it. Okay, everybody, let's get to figuring out what season we're in and make it happen. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Fit Chicks Chat podcast. Want more healthy love? Visit www.fitchicks.com for amazing resources, free workouts, recipes, tips, and so much more to help you live your healthiest and fiercest life, inside and out.